I always used to think that average people were average because of one or two decisions they make. So the things that used to spring to mind for me were physical and mental health. Physical, because they might like eat McDonald's and fast food all the time, and mental because they're dopamine addicts scrolling on TikTok for hours on end every day, screen time 7 hours a day. That was until I realized it might not just be the one or two things, but it could be the hundreds of small decisions that average people make in one day. Think about why that is. It's because they're after the short term. They're not thinking of longevity. They're not thinking of them future selves. They're thinking about how to have fun right now. What's the best decision that I can make for me this minute, not for tomorrow? So let's get into it. So one major mistake that I've seen recently is the World Cup. We all love football, massive Ronaldo fan myself, but when I started going into work and I was listening to the terminology people would use, it was all we. There's no we if you're a Portugal supporter. There's no we at all. It's because realistically the team won and you're not part of the team. So you're putting dopamine into your brain saying we won when you weren't even a player on the pitch. You weren't the millionaire who scored the goal. So it's little things like that deep in the subconscious psyche which is holding you back. Don't share the wins of other people. Create your own reality today and build your own life. Every single spare second is spent consuming. We know about the epidemic of scrolling. The nickname for it is doom scrolling. But if you think about it, it goes so much deeper than that. Think about the negative thought loops that you're getting from listening to, for example, sad music. That's not pure behavior. You need to be listening to high vibrational people. And when you're, for example, on your For You page on TikTok, you don't know what's coming up next. And just one video can create negative thought loops in the subconscious psyche, which will then impact a decision that you make. So, first of all, stop consuming and perhaps stop producing, like I'm doing today. Listen, I mean, the world is being digitalized, and rather than us thinking that's cringe, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to go out of your comfort zone and record a video? Because I've been doing this for a few years now, and the way that I speak has gone from average to extraordinary within just a few years. And that's what my course really is for. I mean, it's on pre-sale right now for only £40, but it's gonna skyrocket up once I get it fully developed. But it's really how to have the mental health so that you can actually enjoy working, that you can enjoy being productive, and that you feel amazing. I mean, your body's a temple, but it doesn't feel like a temple for you. So I think my next point is probably one of the things that you should really abstain to, and it's talking too much, guys. I mean, you know me, you know Starboy Raphael. I'm always talking to girls, boys, creating romantic relationships and just deep connections with people, whether it be in the gym, at work, outside of the gym. And it's these filler words which are just so unnecessary. So for someone who's perhaps young, 18 to 23, how can you upgrade your vocabulary? And the easiest thing that you can do is just by speaking less. Be more punctual. Instead of saying, yeah, I'll do that. Yes, I will do that. Instead of pause. Because what you don't realize is silence is such a powerful tool. If you can take your time, do you understand that second there? That might have been uncomfortable to you, but that gives me the power because you're patient waiting to see what I say. And I feel like it's a really good skill for a young man, not only with talking to girls, but job interviews is how you carry yourself and how good your vocabulary is. If you want to look for inspiration on how to speak, of course you're looking at me now on camera. I'm a good talker. But James Bond, for example, he doesn't say a lot of words at all throughout the film. Genuinely, he doesn't. It's crazy. He's always in picture. Doesn't say a lot. But it's so punctual, so powerful. Men like that, they get their own way. So that's the vocabulary side of things dealt with. But there's more extreme things that people do my age, which is why I'm not friends with many 21-year-olds. And yeah, I mean, the other day I met someone that I really like, right? And we were talking. He seems to be on self-improvement. We've got a similar kind of attitude. But then he tells me he smokes weed. And his excuse for it is he's half Jamaican. What kind of excuse is that? If it's part of your culture, does that mean all of a sudden you're going to smoke weed and corrupt your vessel? No. That's not a good excuse. Think about what the average people are doing. What does an average person do in the morning? Think about it, guys. What does an average person do before work? Well, caffeine, coffee shops. There's a coffee shop every single road where I live. I wonder why. Is that propaganda or not? That is unhealthy. Every single day, if you have a coffee, you're going to see your sleep performance go down. You're going to see your productivity go down. You're going to be a caffeine addict. Vaping. £5 for a vape. Kind of cheap, right? How much is a ribeye steak? £5. This is short term. This is longevity. The average person will always go for short term, and the superior man will always go for long term. They'll go for the longevity. £5 ribeye steak, £5 vape. Which one are you going for? Should you do what everyone else is doing? No, because then you'll get average results. Listen to an average person, you're going to get average results. You're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Everyone knows that phrase, no one really listens to it. You need to listen to that. And when I was younger, I made another massive mistake. Think of your idols. I'm talking to the 1% of people who really have gone down the rabbit hole with self-improvement and things. This is what I make videos for, that 1%. So, David Goggins, inspiration. You've all read his book. Great guy, athlete, mentally strong. It's all about, but the thing is, the broader picture for some reason on social media, it highlights David Goggins as someone who doesn't get any sleep, just work, this, that, because you've seen 2 videos of him running at 2 a.m. when there's no cars on the street. But what you don't listen to is someone like David Goggins. He stretches for 2 hours every single day. So you're in this mentality where you're having coffee every single day, probably like 3-4 times a day to get that work done. You listen to David Goggins' mentality, which isn't actually his mentality, where you don't sleep. You turn into a sleep-deprived zombie. That's all you're doing for yourself. Whereas, and that's what sort of like the average person does. You turn into the sleep-deprived zombie rather than listening to your body, listening to someone like me who has a Whoop watch, has tracked his sleep for 4 months straight, averages 95% sleep. Yes, that's true. Probably one of the best sleepers in my country. One who has gone from beginner boxer to very competitive boxer, full-time education, works twice a week, governor at one of the biggest colleges. And that's not even me bragging. Okay, you listen to me because I feel like I've got that competitive edge. And I want you guys to do the same, which is why in my course I talk about all the things that I do to achieve my goals and to really get to the next step. Caring about what people think. Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Well, I'd say caring about what people think is a really good thing because it encourages you to dress better, to act maybe in a professional manner when you're in a professional environment and things like that. But the problem with the average person is the average person listens to what everyone thinks. But that's completely warped. That's a warped concept. If you have that concept, you're not very forward thinking. You should only really listen to people who are perhaps above you. So people who are successful. Otherwise, you're again listening to someone who's average, and that will rub off on you. So one of the biggest examples really for me is listening to someone who owns the store that I work at. So he put on Teams, we've got a training session this day, feel free to come, it's some life tips and things. And bear in mind, this is a store where about 120 people work at. Only 8 people showed up. Which, I mean, that's crazy to me. If you have someone that you're literally working for who owns the whole business, who's a multi-millionaire, to me, like, I'd jump at that opportunity and learn more. I actually came out of that situation feeling really refreshed, sort of with a lot of belief. And one of the tips that he gave me was, your life is like a week, okay? And he was telling me that he's on Saturday afternoon, nearly on Sunday morning. I think he's about 60 years old or something. And that really like hit me. And it's like, okay, I might be on Wednesday lunch at the moment, but as soon as the week ends, that's your life gone. So think about your life as a week. And all of a sudden, you're like, maybe I don't have as much time as I want. Maybe it needs to start today. It really does need to start today, because nothing's certain. Who knows what will happen tomorrow? And with that, in my course, I've got many modules which are upcoming, sort of on the mentality aspect, on physical health, mental health, how to be a superior man at a young age. And yeah, that's what Starboy Raphael teaches inside my school community. So the link is actually in the YouTube bio, and it will be on the bio as well below this video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Really, you don't need to subscribe, don't need to like, because I really do this for just a small portion of people who kind of understand me. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video.